for inviting me to your regional contest and for the really lovely warm Welsh welcome. It's been great, thank you. I would like to start by telling you a little about my journey into Speakers Club, then a little about my role in the senior leadership team and our vision for the future of inclusion in Association Speakers Club. I've gone on to cards to stop me from waving my hand, which was something the evaluators all picked up, so I'm not nervous at all. So please excuse me if I do refer, because there's a lot I want to cover. My journey started many moons ago as a little girl of 5 or 6, standing by the door, being kissed on the head by my father as he headed out into the night, suited and booted, leaving a little air of Kuros or karate. I knew there'd be some giggles at that one. I've clocked the age range, we're good. Over the years, I accompanied my father to many events in Speakers Club. I went as a 13-year-old, as a 15-year-old, and then I went to more. I went to the Victoria Wood speech. That was fantastic because she was my idol. So there were many times that I followed him. For those of you that are not yet aware, my father is Tony Coleman, past president, national president. Bit of a legend, I'm led to believe. Legendary speeches, evaluations, leadership, and whiskey drinking. Let's jump forward 45 years. I found myself in Glasgow last year at the national conference supporting my now elderly father. He had his 80th birthday there. It was fantastic. Now, I'm very passionate about my job, and when I'm asked to talk about it, believe me, I will. A lot. Don't I? It's the kind of job that engages conversations. Over the years, I've had many careers, it seems. I was a military wife for 20 years, so I could turn my hand to pretty much anything. I worked in nurseries, I was a legal secretary, I ran a magazine, I became editor and publisher, self-taught, I opened a shop. Yeah, the list goes on. But I grew very tired of an inconsistent career. So age 33, I did my teaching degree. I had a 6-year-old and an 8-month-old. My husband was off with the SAS attached to them, and so I very rarely saw him. I was essentially a single parent. I've taught from 3 years to 95. I learnt more from them than they learnt from me over the years, I'm absolutely sure. I've taught career resettlement to soldiers. I've taught in a college, and I finally rested in supported internships. This is a programme for young neurodivergent adults to get them into independent, paid, sustainable employment. So that's learning disabilities, difficulties and autism, and supporting them into employment. Like I said, I'm very passionate about this. I have my own education provisions, and I work with companies such as Amazon, Virgin Media, Morrison's, as well as small independents. I campaign for and I educate for inclusion in the workplace and society as a general rule and generally. Back to the conversations in Glasgow. Like I said, I'd like to talk about my work quite a lot. I was sat next to Jeremy at dinner, and I imagine he probably could tell you very easily what I do. A few months later, I then received a phone call from the national president. They felt that they needed to get better at inclusion in Speakers Club, and it's part of the growth that needs to happen. Would I help them create a national inclusion officer role? Absolutely, yes, I will. Totally my bag. So the post goes live, brilliant. I then get another phone call. You are actually applying for the role, aren't you? I wasn't, quite busy. After much consideration, absolutely, why would I not? I joined Speakers Club because I guest speak a lot, and I needed to know what I don't do well. I tend to make people laugh, that's great. Most people say they enjoy my speeches, brilliant, but I'm pretty sure there's things I don't do well. I'm a pen clicker for one. Used to be a pen clicker. left my pen over there. So I absolutely said yes, and I want to make a difference, and that's why I said yes. So here I am. Now, you now know what qualifies me for the role, but what does it mean? What is the National Inclusion Officer role? Even if you live and work in the field of inclusivity, it is a minefield. It really, really is. You guys here will probably have heard the term equity, diversity and inclusion, EDI. Yeah. How often do we hear these terms? We hear them at work, we hear them out in the world, we hear them in the media. But actually, do we really listen to it? Do we know what it means? And it's now come to ASD. Sorry. We see these terms a lot. We hear it, but we don't always see it. Or do we, and we just don't realise. We hear the term EDI, and we can see people go, here we go again. EDI, it's that trend again. What does it mean? So, in 2010, the Equality and Diversity Act was brought into practice in the UK. It identified 9 protected characteristics. I'm going to read them to make sure I don't miss one. Age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage and civil partnership, pregnancy and maternity, race, religion or belief, sex as in gender, and sexual orientation. Every single one of us in this room will most likely have known someone that has been discriminated against that belongs to one of those categories in the workplace or in life in general, in society. The definition of inclusivity is the action or state of including or being included within a group or structure. The practice of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalised. Essentially, it's about levelling the playing field. Einstein's theory where they ask a fish to climb a tree, never going to do it. The giraffe's going to get there first. Every single time they're going to get the fruit. There's a meme that's gone around social media, some of you may have seen, there's a fence, to pick it just like a normal fence, and there's 3 people. One is shorter than the fence, one, if they stand on tiptoes, can see over the fence, and the other one is absolutely fine, he can see the fence. But the fence is equal, it's absolutely level all the way along, so we've done what we need to do, we've put a fence. No, we need to level that playing field. So the shorter one needs a slightly higher box, the next one needs a medium box, and the other one's actually fine. We need to level that playing field. It means removing judgment, unless you're taking part in a competition and these guys over there are allowed to be a little bit judgy, that's fine. So, it means learning. Every day is a school day. We all learn things every day without even realising. When we learn, we often learn by getting it wrong. And do you know what? That's okay. It's okay to get something wrong as long as you stand there and say, do you know what? I might not get it right every time, but I'm going to learn, and I want to learn, and I want to do better. Things like language. So let's take autism. You could have somebody stood in front of you and you don't know whether they're going to say, I am autistic or I have autism. So it doesn't matter what you say, you might get it wrong because you've got a 50-50 chance. You might get it wrong. It's personal preference. Things like neurodivergence, neurotypical and neurodiversity. So neurodiverse, neurodivergent, neurotypical. How are your heads doing? All a little bit mashed? Right. Neurodivergence and neurotypical, you've got 2 things. Everybody in the whole wide world is neurodiverse because no 2 brains are the same. But when you start reading up about people with learning disabilities, difficulties, autism, etc. online, you will hear those terms interchanged all over the place because there is no set right or wrong, and things do change. The government likes to change the language every time a new government comes in, so give it a go, try. Okay, it is a minefield of jargon. My job is to help break it down and make it relevant. Support our clubs to become accessible, diverse, inclusive, and ultimately more successful. Club values, they're not just on the website or on Google, they're actually something we need to be starting to live by, and we want to. And as part of the senior leadership team, I can tell you now, that is what the senior leadership team want. We want to be living up to these values. Integrity, caring and campaigning, collaboration, excellence, making connections. How does that link to inclusivity? Inclusivity, I looked at these and I looked at them and thought, right, let's look at each individual one and where does it link to what I've got to do. And it really does. Every single one had a point. Integrity, honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility. As ASC, we build a world of trust, fairness and respect. We have a responsibility to those that come to our clubs for any reason, be it progress, guidance or the social side, we have a responsibility to them. Caring and campaigning. We care that you have a good experience. We care that you feel safe. We care that you progress, learn and make friends in your clubs. We campaign to be accessible for all and that you can be your own authentic self in a club. There's an analogy I use in my business, there's several to be fair because I really love them, but there's an analogy I use in my business that people are like plants. We all have that plant in our living room which is a little bit dying and browning, very dry, a bit insipid. We forget it, it's in the corner. Let's move it. Let's move it to change its environment and put it on the kitchen window ledge where you remember to water it. It gets the sunshine, you chat to it while you're washing up. You do, right? That's just me. Okay. We chat to it in a field, and all of a sudden you watch it flourish. People are like plants, put them in the right environment and they will flourish. So our clubs, we need to make the right environment. Collaboration, coming together for the better good, working together to build the clubs, grow the ASC for the next generation, share best practice and share experiences. Excellence. So in sharing our best practice and our experiences, we can only get better. Using your senior leadership team, tell us when we do something well. Tell us what you do well, because we need to know what you do well, because we don't know everything. No, there aren't any on there that think they do. To be fair, they don't. Tell us if you think we could do better. What could we do better? But remember, when you're doing your evaluations, we don't just come at it and tell people, actually, that's rubbish, you're doing a bad job. We come up with the solutions as well as the problem. This is how we achieve excellence. Making connections. You never know who you're going to meet or where it could lead. What will I be doing as your NEO, your National Inclusion Officer? So get used to the phrase NEO, because I can't be bothered to say National Inclusion Officer every 5 minutes that I need to say it. I really don't. So over the coming months, I'm going to be sending out questionnaires in varying forms. And those questionnaires will be about finding out what you need. What do you want as a club? What are you having any issues with? Have you had someone come along and say, actually, do you know what? Your guidebook, I can't cope with it. It's too much for me. I'm not doing it. I'm going to do it my way. Well, actually, do you know what? That's not right. But there are some reasonable adjustments we can make. I can support you with that and making sure that you're doing the right thing. I will be at events such as the Nationals, where I'll be giving information and I'll be taking questions and I'll be able to give advice. I may have to go away and gain that advice and make sure I'm giving you the right advice and it's not just the Roxie advice, because trust me, I'm good at that. I'll be involved in reviewing resources, so I will be looking at things like the website, club starter packs. Some of you are like, we've got a starter pack. Not every club has, some have, they're all slightly different. Some work, some don't. We're going to try and make it so it's actually accessible for everybody. Judging and evaluation processes. I've been to a few of these contests now and I've noticed just a couple of little things where actually the accessibility and the meaning that somebody can be their own authentic self, but still actually be judged or be within a chance to win that competition. I'll be creating podcasts. It's getting funky now. So I'll be doing little video clips. I currently work with DWP to do small video clips on things like what is autism, what might it look like, ADHD, LGBT, what does it mean, what do all these things mean, but also things like reasonable adjustment. And I need clubs to tell me what they need. Age as well. I imagine people are discriminated by age. So it's that, but I want to work with the clubs on that. And there'll be little clips that you'll be able to just watch. It'll have subtitles if you can't hear. We make it as inclusive as possible. Okay. Inclusion isn't just a fad or a tick box exercise. Believe me, it's not. It's a way of life, but it does involve change. Change can be scary, it can be annoying, and it can be really inconvenient at times. It really can. I'm aware of that. There will be questions about why, and you will have a lack of understanding at times as to why we're suggesting change and certain changes. And again, that's okay. My role is to help the club navigate that change, implement it in a way that fits and feels right at a pace that is manageable, and to support understanding of the why and the how. I'm not there to come into your club and go, you're not doing it right, this is what you need to do and I want to see it by next week. It's not what we do, and it's not the way of the world, and you're not going to like me if I do that. I like to be liked, as we all do. I have a passion for inclusion, in case you couldn't tell. I have a passion for a better world and an affection for the ESC, with a deep-rooted respect for the foundations and the values of Speakers Club that were embedded within me 45 years ago. I will support the senior leadership team, the regions, the areas, the clubs and individuals to ensure that maintenance, growth and inclusion of all those clubs for all in a diverse world.